Hello, and welcome to another Megaport Tech Drop-In this Friday, December 12th. My name is Ryan Castley. I'm a solutions architect with Megaport. I am supporting the New England region in the US, as well as some of the New York metro area. So today we'll be reviewing virtual cross connects, or VXCs. We'll talk about what they are, general use cases, poke around in the portal, kind of show you how they're configured, what they can connect to. We'll also go through a scenario where we can move the VXC between Megaport products. So that offers a lot of flexibility when you're either upgrading or changing your design. It's a quick and easy way to recreate or move the VXC without having to manually recreate the VXC configuration. So let's go ahead and just talk about the environment we're going to be working in. So we're going to work out of the 365 data center in Aurora, Denver. And we have a Fortinet MVE, or Megaport Virtual Edge, connecting to an MCR, or Megaport Core Router. We have a 200 meg VXC between them, Virtual Cross Connect. We also have a 50 meg Internet VXC. That's how we'll access the Fortinet and manage it. And what we're going to be working through in this scenario is basically the customer has a 1 gig MCR, and that 1 gig represents the throughput capability of the MCR core router. And they're realizing that they're reaching the limit of that core router and they need to do an upgrade. So what happens when you upgrade? You basically need to create a new core router. However, having to recreate manually each virtual cross connector VXC will be very time consuming, impactful, take a while. So what we do at Megaport is we offer the capabilities of quickly and easily moving that VXC between Megaport products. And we'll go into a little bit more detail of how you do that, what the limitations are, and et cetera. And while we're doing that too, is we're going to be logged into the virtual edge, and we'll be pinging across the cross connect to show you the impact of moving that VXC over to the new MCR. There will be some downtime as expected because we're actually removing a config and rebuilding it, but it's pretty minimal, and you'll see it's very flexible and relatively quick. All right. So what is a virtual cross connect? It's basically a layer 2 Ethernet circuit. That basically it's a high-speed point-to-point Ethernet virtual circuit, or a pseudo wire, between an A-end Megaport product and another customer-owned B-end Megaport product, or a cloud service provider, Megaport Internet, or another business on the Megaport marketplace. And in the portal, we'll go ahead and show you what the options are available there, how many partners we have. We'll kind of show you examples of what you can connect to. So they can be provisioned basically privately between the customer, between cloud service providers, and B2B. They're on-demand, private, flexible. You can change the bandwidth as you need to between any locations where Megaport has enabled their products, ports, MCRs, and MVEs. All VXCs on the Megaport network are delivered as protected services as well. So each VXC is provisioned across multiple diverse fiber paths. So at each Megaport enabled location, we do have multiple connection points or point of entrances. Each are KMZ diverse. So as you build a VXC from point A to point B, we'll take the lowest latency path across that. And in case of a fault failure, we'll seamlessly switch over to the next path. Basically, you won't even notice that that happens. All right, let's talk about basically what else a VXC is. So like I said, they're private, flexible, on demand. They're basically configured between the customer AN port MCR MVE, so core router, virtual edge or port, to another B-end port MCR MVE, cloud service provider, or a third-party marketplace, flexible on demand. They are basically essentially a layer 2 circuit, so they use VLAN tags. We can configure them as tagged or untagged as well. So if you want to run MACsec across a VXC, you can basically configure an untagged VXC, and we'll pass that MACsec right across it. Or if you want to do VXLAN traffic, things of that nature, an untagged VXC is the way to go. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the portal that I built out here, and the sandbox basically. And this is a live environment. So these are live running Megaport products. So the core router is a 1 gig core router. We have an MVE running Fortinet and a FortiGate firewall. And we have the internet VXC connected to the MVE and a private VXC between the MVE and core router. So I got a little diagram here showing you the configuration. So we basically configured this already. Here is the public IP address. The private VXC between the MVE and the MCR is configured with the 10.1.1/24 network addresses. So .1 is on the MCR and .2 is on the MVE. And essentially what we'll be doing is provisioning a new 5 gig MCR and moving this VXC across. All right. So let's go ahead and provision that new MCR. And we won't dive too much into technical details of the MCR. That could be a separate tech topic there. But we'll go ahead and create it in the same data center. I'm going to go ahead and select 5 gig, give it a name. And do this 5 gig so we can identify it. We do support IPsec to the MCRs, but we'll keep that off for now. And we'll keep BGP shut down because we will not be demonstrating BGP capabilities here. Hit next, add MCR, view the order, and go ahead and order now. So this will take a minute or two to deploy, but while that's deploying, go ahead and talk a little bit more about the VXCs. Right. So basically VXC sizing, when you provision a VXC, it really can't exceed the speed of the physical interface if it's connected to a port. So if you have a 10 gig port, you won't be able to connect a VXC that's larger than 10 gig. You won't be able to configure a 20 gig or 100 gig VXC, even though it's supported. So it is limited by the port size. The VXC rate also cannot exceed the speed of the lowest port or MCR that it's connected to. So we do support ports in a lagged configuration. So if you have two 10 gig ports that are lagged together for a total of 20 gig, you will be restricted to a 10 gig VXC. You can't go beyond the lowest speed port there. So for example, a 15 gig VXC is allowed on a 100 gig port, but not on a 2x10 gig lag. Pretty simple. All right. And that's already deployed, so that is great. I'm going to go ahead and log into the Fortinet device. All right. Here I'm going to ping across. That is the MCR. So that is pinging now. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and set up a repeat count of 1,000 so we can do a continuous ping. And before we get that done, let me show you here a little bit more in the portal about the VXCs. So here we have the MVE, the MCRs. So if you were to add a VXC, just basically click the connection button. So we offer cloud VXCs, virtual cross connects, the various cloud providers. And here's a list of all the cloud providers that we support. You can certainly click on a cloud provider and see all the locations globally. So you can build that VXC from your environment to various cloud on-ramps and globally. So it's a very important piece. These virtual cross connects can be done from your product and your environment, so port, MCR, MVE, basically anywhere across the globe that we have Megaport infrastructure deployed. And that includes cloud NNIs, our marketplace vendors, third parties, as well as other businesses. So let's say you have a business you're acquiring, or you have a partner, you realize they're also a Megaport customer and you want to directly connect to them. You can exchange service keys. So it's very similar to cloud service providers like Azure, GCI. You have a service key and that connects you up together. So essentially that's done here. You see enter service key, and this is where you put that in, and you go ahead and be able to configure a layer 2 connection VXC to your partner. And you see private VXC. So this is a sandbox environment. So this basically lists out a lot of other devices and products that are currently configured. So that allows you the options to connect to basically anything within that metro. So it's another very important point to mention here. So moving of VXCs, the limits and restrictions. A VXC can only be moved between products of a similar type. So between ports, so a port to a port, from an MCR to an MCR, or MVE to an MVE. And this also can only be done within the same metro. So here we're working in the Denver area, so Denver would be the metro area. New York could be a metro area, Ashburn, Boston, etc. So if you had a service in New York and you wanted to move that to Tokyo, you would not be able to do that. It has to be within the same metro. And also, if you're moving from a port to a port, the destination port has to have enough capacity to accommodate the VXC that you're moving as well. You can oversubscribe VXCs. So if you have a 10 gig port, you could certainly configure and provision VXCs that go beyond that 10 gig. Really what it comes down to is the bandwidth usage of those VXCs on that port. So you can oversubscribe as much as you'd like, but you got to be aware of the bandwidth usage, because then you don't want to stop or start dropping traffic. Right? So also when you're moving a VXC, it is a layer 2, so it has a VLAN tag. In the destination, basically that VLAN has to be available. So we do that check automatically. It's available, no issues. And one other item too is we do offer terms on our Megaport products. So when you're moving a VXC, we can't have a change in billing. So one thing is if you build a VXC and you set it to a term, and you set it to a specific speed like 100 meg, so you basically build a 100 meg VXC, term it to 12 months or 24 months, you just can't change that billing, that speed below that 100 meg to make a change in billing. That billing impact will prevent you from making that change or making that move as well. All right, so let's go ahead, bring up that console connection. So we're going to go ahead and ping across from the MVE to the MCR again. So that is going here. You can watch the sequence. I'm going to go ahead and shrink down my browser window so we can actually walk through the moving of the VXC. So here we have the 5 gig and here we have the 1 gig MCR. So this one is being overutilized. So we're going to take a look at the VXCs that are attached to the MCR here. We have one in our environment. So we offer this little arrow button here. It's move connection. And as long as there is another MCR available in our environment, that'll be available. If we didn't have an MCR or a like service, that actually would be grayed out and you would not be able to move that. So I'm going to go ahead and click that move connection. And here is the MCR that we want to move it to. These are the other MCRs in the sandbox environment available, but we're going to choose the one that we created, which is the 5 gig. And hit next. And it gives you a summary to confirm. I'm going to go ahead and say move and confirm. So right now it's processing. You can see the pings are still going. The sequence is increasing. And success. So what's happening now in the background is our automation is kicking off. So it's going through, doing its checks, and it'll basically remove the config from the 1 gig MCR and then put it on the 5 gig MCR. So we did get a little notification here that say it may take 2 minutes or longer. It's a kind of a rough estimate. We can still see the sequence increasing here. So it hasn't really torn down that connection yet. but we'll keep an eye on it here. And eventually we'll see it stop. Yep, and it did. It stopped at 102. So we'll wait a little bit longer and have that come up. Well, basically, while that's happening here, I'll go back to the services. And if you go into the settings of the VXC, and that's actually not going to let us do that because it is moving here. So we'll just wait a minute or two. And one thing we do allow you to do as well, as part of moving the VXCs, is you can do multiple moves at the same time. So if you have, let's say, 20 VXCs to this MCR, and you didn't want to have to move one at a time, you had a short maintenance window, you want to do it very quickly, you could select multiple VXCs at the same time and move them all at once. And the great thing about this too is that configuration of the VXC moves with it as well. So it saves a lot of time in having to recreate. And here we go. And we're back up and running. So we're on the new MCR. We lost about 50-ish plus pings. So not too bad. And if we go here, you can see, we'll just do a quick little refresh because sometimes the portal just needs a quick refresh to reflect the actual real config. And there we go. We are now on the new 5 gig MCR. So the move has been completed. And since there is no other VXC connection here, we can go ahead and delete this 1 gig MCR because we no longer want to get billed for it. So we'll get rid of it and it's gone. And now we are running on the 5 gig MCR. We've essentially taken this VXC, moved it over here, and the IP has moved with it. So when I say the configuration of the VXC moves with it, basically it's everything. So we can see the VLAN tags moved over. We've got the IP address. This is the configuration of the MCR. If we had Q&Q enablement here, that would also move. Packet filters, BGP connections for that VXC, everything would have moved over for us. So it saves a considerable amount of time, and it's very easy and quick, as you saw. Great. So one other scenario that you might find yourself in as well, we do have diversity zones to kind of avoid maintenance events happening that will take your environment down. So for redundancy purposes, we have a red and blue zone. If you had an MCR in a red zone and you wanted to basically move it to the blue zone, that would be another reason on having to move VXC. So it might not just be an upgrade. Maybe you wanted to increase your diversity and move it across zones. So this functionality lets you go ahead and do that as well. And like I said before, you can quickly move multiple VXCs over at the same time. So nice and easy. And here, now that we're on the 5 gig MCR, we're running a 200 meg VXC. One thing we do allow you to do is very quickly and easily increase or decrease the rate limit. And again, you have to be aware of the contract terms. So if you had initially built that VXC with a 12-month term at 200 meg, you just wouldn't be able to go down in speed because that would cause a billing change in the negative. So you might incur ETF fees. But since we're a month to month, we have no minimum contract. We basically could go up to 500 meg. Go ahead and hit save. And we've just increased the bandwidth from 200 to 500 meg. Nice and easy and quick. And that's reflected here now. So great. Well, that kind of ends the demonstration discussion about VXCs. I hope you got something out of it, and let us know and reach out if you have any questions or if you want to learn a little bit more about our Megaport products. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Friday and have a great weekend.